All right, good morning, guys. Welcome to the channel. It's about a little after 9, I think, right now this morning. It's pretty nice, probably in the high 60s, low 70s. We're going to have some hot days coming up this weekend. I think there's going to be a day or two where it's around 110 degrees, so it's going to be a hot one. Um, you know, kind of what I wanted to talk about here was letting go of things, and why do we hold on to things? Why is it hard to let go of things, and maybe how to start learning to let go of things. And in my younger years, I kind of struggled with some mental issues. Like everyone goes through in life. We take in and absorb all this energy, this negative thoughts, and everything around us, and um, it creates knots in your head, and you start to hold on to things, and it becomes mentally unhealthy for you, and it's hard to break that cycle once it begins. And so maybe what I say, some of my philosophies or thoughts about all kinds of things in life, maybe that resonates with people who end up seeing my videos, and we can build a little community, and I can get questions, and we can talk about things, and I would enjoy that. I like talking about the human condition, and the way our minds work is interesting to me, on that, on things. So letting go, you know, why do we hold on to things? First off, it can be for all kinds of reasons, right? And most of the things we hold on to are negative thoughts, right? So a negative energy, whatever you'd like to phrase it as there. Um, we, right? Why do we hold on to stuff? Well, sometimes we feel like we should have said something different. We feel like something was a jab at us. We feel all kinds of different ways about all kinds of things. And so a lot of the stuff we hold on to because we feel something about that. Whatever it is we're holding on to, we feel something about it. So immediately, I think that whatever we hold on to, um, since it's a feeling, it starts to quickly become interwoven with the fabric of our identity, of who we are. And it just kind of gets absorbed into us, like that. And the problem is, if we hold on to the negative for too long, um, that negativity begins to become a permanent part of our identity, and we begin to become a negative person. Whereas, on the other hand, if we try to push the negative out and only retain and absorb the positive, we become a positive person and a more healthy, mentally healthy person. But I think that most of the time we hold on to things, the things that are running through our minds, right? They're the negative, they're not the positive. And I think that is because the mind is looking for the path of least resistance. Holding on to the negative is the path of least resistance. Pushing the negative away and focusing on the good in life, that requires discipline, discipline of the mind. And the mind does not want that. It wants the easiest route out. So I think that's kind of what is happening in our mental process when it comes to holding on to things. Um, and, you know, how do we let go of that stuff? How do we begin to not do that? How do we train our brains not to do that? Um, And that is a hard one. It is a discipline for sure. And it's one that, in my early years, I struggled with overcoming those negative energies, overcoming those thoughts. Um, but you can do it, but it requires discipline and a will to do it. And where do we get that will? Well, I think that will comes when your mind begins to realize, you begin to realize that holding on to that stuff versus letting go of it, right? Letting go of it becomes the path of least resistance. Um, because that, to me, holding on to all that negative thought process and energy, it destroys you from inside. It destroys you as a person. You're when you're no good for yourself, you're no good for the people around you. You know, um, we in order to be good for what's around us, we have to be good for ourselves. We have to be right for ourselves. If we can't be there, if we can't be right for ourselves, we're not right for anything. So, for me, it just got to a point where I had to let all of that negative energy go, those negative thoughts, the self-doubt. I had to let all of that go because it was becoming too much of a burden to hold on to that stuff. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to have all that self-doubt. I didn't want to be negative on all kinds of things that I was negative on, at the time. So letting go of that was easier for my mind than holding on to it, because holding on to it was destroying me from within. So that's kind of how I started my path to learning how to let go of things and how to train myself to let go of things. And I'm going to do the next video after this, I'm going to do on minimalism, and it's going to go hand in hand with this because I am minimalist as well. And I'm going to do a separate video about that, and that will be the video that I talk about after this one. So that is the way, though, that I think we let go of stuff is basically when we get to a point to where our mind views letting go of it as an easier path than to holding on to things. That's when I think that moment comes for all of us, because I don't think, no matter what it is in life, right? I don't think that we can truly do anything in life. We can't succeed at anything, no matter what it is in life, until we are mentally 100% on board. It's kind of that do or do not thing. Um, we can't we can't say, oh, we're kind of gonna do this. Um, it gets to that point where you're just like, you're either gonna do it or you're not. And I think that moment of learning to let go of stuff comes when you fully invest 100% in your mind, that you no longer want to walk the path in the negative, you know. So that's when I think it happens for us. And it's a discipline to get there, and it just takes time. So those are kind of my thoughts on it. If you like my content, check out my channel and my other stuff. Like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so when I push out videos, they or when I publish videos, they get pushed out to you, by YouTube. Um, I'm new to this, so still kind of getting my footing and figuring it all out and everything. I enjoy this process, so hopefully I can get a little community going here. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good afternoon.